So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to all of our participants this afternoon to this final webinar for the EU Cities for Fair and Ethical Trade Award, which we have opened to your last questions. We essentially are here for you to answer whichever concerns you may have. So we will really warmly welcome you to submit your questions in the chat that is available to you, a chat window, and we will always read the questions out loud and respond then to you and also all the other participants by extension. We have two questions that came to us earlier that we can start with. So you can, in the meantime, maybe formulate your own questions that we will follow up later, but we will start with these. I will start with the one that's again focused, and we have talked about these actually in the, I think in the last webinar. The answer here is yes. We have decided that this is possible exactly because many times the approval processes in many cities can be quite complicated and take a lot of time. So considering the time frame for submitting the applications, we have decided to open the possibility to let's say submit the mayoral declaration with another signature by another person, and ideally accompanied by a document that explains who that person is and in what capacity that person signs the application. Once again, the purpose of having a mayoral declaration was really to make sure that the city council, that the city itself knows that an application is being submitted on its behalf. So again, there definitely you can submit it by with another signature. It is yes and yes, since the question already contains also the answer. I think that again, during the tutorial application webinar we had 2 weeks ago, I believe, we said that this is very much an open concept kind of question for you to really decide what you would like to put in there. But the purpose was to put the application in, let's say, a good, or not good, but in a very specific light in terms of for the evaluators to know where the city comes from, whether the city is located in a country which normally doesn't have any national policies, for instance, on fair and ethical trade, or whether the city itself is really well connected to the outside world. For instance, it is a port, and just naturally it has very, let's say, vibrant and rich exchanges with the outside world.
Yeah, or for example, whether, depending on where the city is located in a certain country, it serves as a regional hub of commerce or an international hub of commerce for that part of the country, for example. I mean, that could be another example, or even if it doesn't, there's regional partners, regional organizations, companies that are in that region surrounding the city, if you will, that have some type of impact, interest, or participation or engagement, whatever word you want to use, related to fair and ethical trade or sustainable trade or sustainable purchasing in various levels of intensity. So the idea is really to say, okay, we have a city, obviously, or a municipality, that's one thing, but even in the ecosystem of the economy, and there's exchanges between the city and its general regional context, there could be some linkages there vis-a-vis fair and ethical trade or sustainable trade.
Okay. We hope this possibly answers the question. I'm looking if there are any other questions from the other participants. I see this one we already answered. This one as well. So at this point, are there any other questions that that we can answer at this point? Maybe I will come back really quickly to that question about the mayoral declaration. The question actually had a very specific point in asking whether it can be a delegate with the social and solidarity economy of the city who signs the statement. So again, yes, this could be that person, and ideally, if you can enclose a document which either specifies that particular delegation, it's also very much appreciated, essentially, for the evaluators to see who that person is. I mean, ideally, again, just the purpose is that the city council knows that an application for the city is being submitted. So that's what we need to make sure. Otherwise, if the mayor as such actually knows about the application or not, that's probably a secondary concern, I would say here. So a civil society organization can definitely submit the application on behalf of the city. I would just say that someone who is responsible, let's say, for the city's external relations should know about this application being submitted.
Exactly. Just so we just want to make sure that there's no, if you will, there's no objection. And so, you know, and obviously if that city is successful in the award process, in either by winning or as a special mention, obviously there will be follow-on steps. And so, insofar as we can ensure that the city is aware and supports the application of civil society, that's the reason why we have this quote-unquote mayoral declaration. But as Petra just mentioned, I mean, given the way that the city is organized, it may not be the mayor herself or himself who signs the actual declaration. It could be another city staff person that has that let's say responsibility to make those types of endorsements. But that would be the reason. But in terms of a civil society organization completing the application and providing all the information and background details on the application, that is completely fine.
It's a very good question. I know that we also had actually a few queries before, so that the application form can be circulated. There are two sections on the, one section actually I should say, on the Trade City Award website. Maybe I can try to share my screen and show you exactly where it is, but essentially the PDF of the form can be downloaded quite easily from there. So if you go to the Apply Now page of the website, and I will share my screen now so that you see exactly where it is. Now you should be able to see that page. So essentially, when you go from the home page to the Apply Now page, and I'll just reload again, you land at the Documents page, where all of the individual pieces of information are uploaded, including the application form. So you can very easily download it and see it in a very nicely structured way. So you do not have to necessarily go online and copy and paste everything. That's a very good question. We haven't thought of it too much, but this is actually something, as in the, let's say, the first instance, I would like to ask Mojan whether technically it's actually possible to submit more than 500 words.
Thank you for that question. Technically, it should not be possible to submit more than 500 words. So I would say take that very seriously. We've put a maximum word limit for a reason. So concise and clear, and shorten your answers is key here.
Excellent. So then essentially that's more or less how the limit is set. So I don't think that if there was the option to actually go over that limit, we would somehow penalize that. But on the other hand, the idea really is to make the application very concise and only state the most important facts and not necessarily everything.
Another question that has been posted now by Fabio. I don't know if or not a question, but a point posted by Fabio there in the chat box.
It's related to this previous question from Annick van Dam. When if there is extra evidence that can be used or that the city will want to use, you can always upload it as a PDF to the particular textual question. But once again, we would really like to ask you to be concise in answering the questions and just state the facts so that the whole story is not too diluted, let's say. But if your city has really a lot to say, then we would really encourage you to attach whatever you deem is very relevant as the annex.
Exactly, and if in that 500 word maximum question, if you feel that you have a PDF to upload that would provide more information that is crucial to communicate to us, then please maybe indicate in your response a CPDF, ABC, or XYZ, whatever it's called, that provides more information on that point.
If there are no more questions at this stage, there is always a possibility of sending in questions by email.
That's correct.
That's correct. I was just about to say that probably we will close the webinar for now, unless there are any burning questions at this particular moment. And if not, then we are definitely very happy to answer any questions over the email, which is again available at our website. So do get in touch with us.
That's right. Yeah. And just to remind you, the deadline, as you probably all know, has been extended to the 20th of April. So the deadline is now the 20th, which is next Friday, not this Friday, but the following Friday.
Okay.
Well, I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fabio.
Looking forward to receiving the applications.
Yes, and any questions you have beforehand as well. So thanks again.